February 2020 brings a new era in grid life competition with its trip to one of the most famous tracks on the continent. There's no place quite like this, a 20-turn circuit built virtually with CAD to ensure absolute perfection. Some may call it formulaic, some may call it treacherous or tedious, but others know that if it's good enough for Formula One, it's good enough for them. Tonight we go racing 3 times 15 minutes each for a total of 45 minutes of action. This is a racetrack that carries so much significance in the racing world, they named it after the continent on which it resides. Tonight, Grid Life Crowd Control Cup races Circuit of the Americas. Welcome to SimTV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Corey Silva from PTR TV. Corey, welcome tonight. This is going to be a super fun night of action. Almost 50 Ford FR500 Mustangs at Circuit of the Americas. How crazy is this going to get?
Yeah, thanks, Kyle, for having me back here. It's been a while since I've been in the booth, so what a race to come back and look at. As you said, a very historic track here in Texas. I mean, very, very different kinds of racing have gone on here. We've had IndyCar, Formula One in here, a whole mess of Mustangs on a wide, long track. I mean, we're going to have bumping, we're going to have drafting. It's going to be a fun night.
Of course, we had a lot of drivers in here that are worth mentioning. DJ Alessandrini, of course, in the number 1. He's always the tough one to beat. Again, a GLTC competitor, multi-time champion on SimTV, both in the Washington, D.C. region SCCA, as well as in Grid Life iRacers competition. IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge driver Tom O'Gorman is back tonight in his number 94, along with his real-world co-driver Shelby Blackstock in his number 46. Shelby didn't get a whole lot of practice tonight, so we'll see if he can roll off and get a good start to this evening. Of course, Ken Houseal, Robert Hartley, other drivers that we know are good enough to win this evening. But again, let's go through a quick demonstration of what a lap around Circuit of the America looks like, Corey, because you mentioned earlier that this is not a track that you know very well, partially because it's so hard to learn. 20 corners around here, Corey, but the first one, a very treacherous one, a very tight hairpin.
Yeah, every track, Kyle, has that famous corner that, makes it stick out, and definitely turn 1 here at Circuit of the Americas is the one. You go up that hill and you have a blind left-hand hairpin, and then right at the end of it, you go wide and you have to get prepared to go through the S's on the right-hander. So you have to make that run and complete the pass because you don't want to be on the opposite side of the track, Kyle, when you head into those S's.
Yeah, through the S's, you'll be threading the needle through yellow curbs on left and right. Tonight, we'll be jumping them with these cars. Nice soft suspension, these big Mustangs. Then you're going to head through turns 6, 7, 8, and 9, which are the end of the S's, before heading downhill through a left-hand kink. That's turn number 10. Heading into another hairpin, turn number 11, one of your best passing opportunities. That will lead you on to a very long back straightaway up over a rise, down towards turn number 12, into what I call the stadium section, Corey. Low and slow, very, very tight corners here, tight radii. It's going to be a tough time to muscle these cars through there. You'll round out the rest of the lap through turn 16, 17, 18. It's a long right-hander into 19 and 20. The final 2 corners on this racetrack, which we're going to see a lot of drivers running wide tonight. And running wide is the name of the game at a track like this because it's easier, quite honestly. I don't know if it's faster, but we always see at tracks like this with so much paved runoff that running wide gives you a pretty good advantage.
Yeah, it's a very difficult track, as you said, Kyle. It's a lot of different dynamics with the the stadium section, the long straightaways. But as you said, as difficult as it is, it's just as forgiving because if you do go wide, you have all the pavement in the world to save the car. You may have to watch out for the iRacing stewards with the slowdown penalties, but at least you may have to slow down and give up a couple seconds, but you'll be back in it, get on the wheel, and maybe try to get those spots back.
Absolutely. So about 5 minutes left in qualifying here, and just getting a clean lap is going to be a challenge tonight. You got two attempts at it in the 10-minute qualifying session. Of course, riding on board with Justin Kelly through the stadium section here, and Justin Kelly again is a GLTC competitor, and we'll be back next year in his S2000 motor K-swapped FRS. So it's I don't remember. I think they called it an FRS 2000. But they kind of shook it down at Road America this past year, and it looked like it performed quite well. So excited to see that car compete. Not sure if Kelly will be at COTA here in February, but if he is, I'm sure that car with that amount of power will be performing quite well. So about 5 minutes left in qualifying as we've only had one driver late on a time. That's Robert Casera in the 177, as a few more come across the line. Engelbert, Price, Everard, and more. But qualifying in a 15-minute race seems pretty important, Corey, but this first one doesn't count for points. Again, the first race does not count. Races 2 and 3 are the ones that are point races this evening. So for race 1, it's going to set the order for race 2. So how aggressive are you willing to be? Are you willing to kind of get a little messy and get some damage on your car to get that good qualifying spot, or do you think it's all right to take a little bit easy?
I mean, it all depends where you're starting, Kyle. If you're, maybe at the middle of the teens, yeah, you might want to be aggressive, try to get that top 10 starting spot for the second round, kind of gauge, how everyone's going to race this track, who's faster in which sections. That's going to be the most important part. For all the slow sections leading to the long straightaways, you're going to need to gauge where you have the advantage and try to pinpoint that to make the passes, and don't set yourself up for failure, but at the same time, take advantage of what's offered in front of you.
Max Lupfer in the 688, he actually just recently sold his mid-90s Ford Taurus SHO that he actually ran in GLTC this past year, and he's working through the stadium section right now. He's working on a BMW 2002 for GLTC competition. Sometime in the middle of 2020 is when that car will debut, so looking forward to seeing that. So as Lupfer works his way through the long carousel here towards the end of the lap, let's talk about this car just a little bit. This thing weighs about 3,600 pounds. It's got a 6-speed manual transmission. You can't cheat this car. You have to shift it the old-fashioned way. Clutch on the upshifts, heel toe downshifts. So do you think this kind of car at this kind of racetrack is going to suit the professional drivers more, or do you think it'll suit the sim drivers more?
I'm gonna go more towards the professionals, Kyle. Especially, you can kind of tailor the in iRacing to your specific driver abilities, but I think the guys that know how to do that heel toe, they're going to gain just that little bit of time on the upshifts, which is going to, every amount of speed you can carry down these straightaways, Kyle, that is going to be paramount into setting yourself up to make passes in the next corner.
You see Tom O'Gorman, who's fourth, and you also see the brake rotors glowing inside those front tires, and that's also a discussion that we had last week at Road Atlanta, which was the first of the 4 rounds of this Crowd Control Cup, is the brake temperatures. You're going to see a lot of drivers leaning super heavily on these brakes, and the more you lean on the brakes, the more you heat the tires up. In a 15-minute race, I'm not sure it matters that much, but always a consideration not to overheat your stuff, because it will make you slippy and slidey towards the end of these short races.
Yep, and of course with that, you don't want to lock up the brakes, lose the back end, and again, this is going to be a very momentum race, Kyle. I feel like with the slower machine, the big heavy machine, you really can't lose that momentum. So if you go wide or you go a little bit, late in the corner with your braking zones, that's going to open the door for 2, 3, 4 cars to pass you.
Andrew Rasmussen in the 35 working through the middle of the course right now, setting up to complete his qualifying lap. We have had 30 drivers take times. Again, this will be a standing start race this evening. So again, we mentioned the shifting, just the clutch work to get this car rolling and to not spin those tires is going to be paramount. Again, also heading up towards turn number 1. You mentioned it earlier, we went over the track guide. That's an extremely tight corner. We're going to see at least 5 wide, maybe even 6. So I think the first couple corners, people might try to tiptoe, and then after the S's, people will really let it rip.
Yeah, I think the leader, whoever's on maybe the first 4 spots, they might be able to pull away, kind of get a little bit of safety. But I'll tell you, if you're anywhere from, maybe Justin Hill in the 27, who's currently in 6th, maybe all the way back to, I'm even going to go, Kyle, back to about the 25th spot or so, I would not want to be in that hornet's nest going through the first half of lap 1. It is going to be a very interesting scene, but, dangerous in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and I'm taking a look at the lap times, just that within the top 15. I think this track separates the men from the boys a little bit. Again, we got a 2:23.0 by Robert Hartley at the top of the board, and 15th place Andrew Abbott has a 2:25.6, so a 2.5 second gap just from 1st to 15th. And again, we're seeing about an 8-second gap from 1st to 33rd, so there's a huge gap in skill here, although the draft is going to help these guys stay close together, even in these short races.
Yeah, the 3.5 miles essentially we do have here, and like I said, a lot of opportunities to mess up. So it doesn't really surprise me to see the variance in the speeds, but as you can see, there's a bunch of guys in the 23s, a bunch of guys in the 24s, and the 25s. So there's a bunch of different groups of drivers in their different speed levels thus far, what we can see, and that's going to carry over into the race, and we'll see these guys in these different packs kind of battling together, I'm expecting.
Qualifying is complete here at Circuit of the Americas, just outside of Austin, Texas. Again, you're watching Sim TV. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and a like to help us out. And also, between the 15-minute races, make sure you head on over. Finian's got Fuel Mission 22 Cup Series season finale action from Las Vegas. So even when we're not streaming, we still are. So this race will be about 7 laps from start to finish. Not a super long one, as we mentioned, as the field grids up. Oh man, I'm getting nervous looking at how many cars are going to jump on this grid.
Yeah, it is going to be a good one here tonight, and we're going to hope for the best. It's going to be a good race. Hopefully there's no calamity. Hopefully there's a lot of excitement against 7 laps, and you know what? If you like race 1, we're going to get to do it 2 more times after this, so stay tuned, folks, for a great night of action here on Sim TV.
Yeah, again, we got, we'll let the starting order scroll along the bottom of the screen because we're not probably going to have enough time to get through most of it, so we'll let that scroll for a moment. Let's take a quick look at our track conditions tonight. 67 in the air, 76 on the racetrack. Relatively cool conditions. I know these guys practiced in pretty hot temps, which meant that the track was very slippery and staying on track was difficult. So we also mentioned running wide might be a bit of a crutch, but I would also be concerned with how crazy it is out there, how many cars are out there, that getting back on track is going to be a challenge, especially in the midfield in the early going.
Yeah, I definitely expect that to be the case, Kyle. You're going to have to go wide. You're going to really have to use your peripheral vision and be safe out there. It's a big, wide track, but when you have 50 screaming cars going right by you, it'll narrow up in a hurry.
Robert Hartley is on the pole of this race. And we're going to look off the gearbox camera. You see there's almost 50 cars lined up behind him for the start of this event. Of course, Tom O'Gorman in that green car right behind him. DJ Alessandrini's up here as well. Almost done with the gridding process. Just waiting for a couple stragglers here before we go green. Again, this first race, 15 minutes, no points. Race 2, 15 minutes. It is a points race with the starting order determined by the finishing order of this race. Race 3 is the finishing order of race 2 with the top 10 inverted. So especially in race 2, that top 10, or that 10th spot rather, going to be pretty hotly contested. So here we go. 6 seconds left of the gridding process. It's Hartley out up front. 15 minutes on the board for the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup. Round 2, race 1. Here we go. Red lights are on, waiting for the green lights. There they are. Green flag flies and racing at Circuit of the Americas.
Yep, here we are, Kyle, going up the hill for the first time. Everyone is going to be fanning out as they go up the hill, entering the hard left-hand hairpin into turn 1. Let's see how they can get through it. Who's going to get through it cleanly? Is everyone going to make it through in one piece?
Oh, so far, so good. Haven't seen any calamity just yet. The exit of turn 1s, we're probably going to see a lot of drivers coming together, some pushing and shoving in the midfield, but for the most part, I think we're clean and green as we come through the S's for the first time. It's Hartley and Casera nose to tail. Casera lost that advantage he had on the outside here, but now look at Tom O'Gorman tucking in for 4th as they stream through the S's.
Yeah, great job by everybody, at least in the top 10 thus far, to keep themselves in one piece and, get themselves single file, see where everyone is going to be. Thus far, you can see, as you said, the 03 of Hartley has about a 4/10 of a second gap on Casera, but here comes Alessandri in that number 1 machine. Taking a look on Casera.
Alessandrini lining up to get by Casera down here into the hairpin for the first time. Another car out of line in the background. Austin Barnes in the number 51 on the outside. That is Austin Cobb on the inside.
No, leader around.
Oh, Hartley spins at the exit of the hairpin. And he's going to lose a bunch of spots here.
Just a little bit too hard on the gas right there on the exit of the corner. Loops right around. He goes from the lead to 16th position in the snap of your fingers.
Yeah, that's a disappointing start for him, but Alessandrini is the one that takes over. Tom O'Gorman slots into second. This is one of Tomo's favorite racetracks, so we know he's going to be hard to beat. He takes a look into turn number 12, but thinks better of it, tucks back in the line behind the 1.
Yeah, that 1 got that run. O'Gorman off of that corner, just got a little bit swirly, a little bit wide, lost a couple tenths of a second, a couple car lengths there, and you can see from the 94 all the way back to about, I'll say, the 10th position. Everyone is in one big conga line right here. One mistake could cost you a bunch of time, as we saw.
Heard some contact. There's another car around. Is Stephen Pruden in the number 2. He's put the nose into the fence as we now work through the carousel for the first time here. A very long right-hand corner. It's Tom O'Gorman sitting in second behind DJ Alessandrini. DJ's got a half a second lead as they work their way into turns 19 and 20.
Now, Kyle, you may know these cars a little bit better than I do. I mean, what kind of gap is Alessandrini going to be comfortable with to maybe break the slipstream of O'Gorman in second?
It's going to have to be over a second, maybe even 1.5 seconds. But the problem is Tomo is so good at carrying momentum in these cars. He was joking on the Facebook page earlier this week that if you don't think COTA flows, then you're probably not driving it right. So he's going to be extremely good through these S's now that he's got some room to breathe. So I think Tomo's going to be especially good in the first couple sectors of this track.
Tomo, as you just mentioned with the brake rotors earlier, they are absolutely glowing bright red already. We're only 2 laps into this event, and he already has those binders heated up as he does try to close further onto the 1 machine, but it does look like through the S's that Alessandrini has a little bit of a, an advantage on him on this sector of the track. I think O'Gorman, at least from what we saw so far, showed more of an advantage on the second half of the track.
Yeah, look at the gain through the latter half of it, though, and Tomo's right on the rear bumper of that one. We saw Tomo get right on the rear bumper of Alessandrini through turn 1 as Alessandrini slid wide on the turf. He's going to go wide again here at the crest of the hill. Here comes the 94 looking for the lead.
Yeah, this may be the opportunity that the 94 needs. He's going to have a look to the inside into the braking zone. Here he comes. He has the run. He has the space. Look how wide Alessandrini goes. They're going to go side by side through the left-hander, and the one's going to hang on to it on exit.
Yeah, DJ went wide to kind of accommodate that, but now Casera's going to give Tomo a huge shove, a missed shift perhaps for the one of Alessandrini. He's going to get Freight Train, also Ken Houseal in 4th, and that white and black number 19 sizing up a pass for position. Casera looks to driver's right as they head down to 12.
Yeah, using the draft to his advantage, he kind of pushed O'Gorman through there, and now he's going to try to take advantage of it himself, heading into the braking zone, but here comes the one. He's going to take the look, but he's going to have to back off because Sarah kind of shut the door on him, and we will carry through into the right-hander here, and you can see some passing going on the 27 making a look.
Bit of an accordion effect there into turns 13 and 14 as Casera jumped on the brakes to not hit the 94, almost got run over by the one. Looking back a little bit, you see Austin Barnes, he's got a big chunk taken out of that front bumper, so he's into the back of somebody up the road. All 3 of the leaders off the racetrack over the edge of the turf.
Using every last bit of asphalt that Circuit of the America has to offer, because that's what you need to do to keep these Mustangs wound up here through these tight sections of the track. And O'Gorman trying to hold off that very hard charging Casera in the 177, doing that just now, but you can see the run that the 177 got as we complete lap number 2 after this last corner.
He paid for the whole track. You might as well use it, I say. So as they roll out of turn 20, Tom O'Gorman will lead his first lap of the night. Let's check on back a little bit deeper in the field right behind them. That's the 688 of Max Lupfer. That it's Reese Everard, Jacob Price landing at a whole other train. This is about from 9th on back to 17th place Justin Kelly. So these guys all trading positions back here as we got a pass for the lead. DJ down the inside. Oh, Tomo's loose!
94 gets loose! He's around! Contact!
And Tomo out, big damage on the left-hand side of that race car. Casera got a ton of nose damage here. Look at Barnes running way wide trying to get out of the way.
Now, what kind of damage did that do in that wreck to, I think it was the one who had that T-bone effect there? What kind of damage is it going to do to everyone involved? Obviously, it's going to hurt the 94 more than anybody. You can see here tonight, Kyle getting on the gas. These rear tires really losing some traction.
Casera got drilled from behind. That was Cobb that got into him. Cobb's going to run over Nicholas Johnston here as well. All elbows out, physical pushing and shoving here, but Casera's front nose, he's got no control of this race car. He's got a lot of damage, and it's going to go backwards pretty quick. That thing's destroyed.
Yes, it is a terrible break there, and you can see he was hopping the curb there dead sideways, trying to make what he can with the remaining of his race here. But I'll tell you up front, battle for the lead still has not died down. Seems like it's pretty much a cat and mouse game, Kyle. One person gets the lead, one person gets it right back the next lap. It's almost going to be some strategy coming into these remaining laps.
Yeah, see Casera, once he gets onto the straightaway, that car's missing some power. But you mentioned the front two. These guys are going to break away for a little while, probably trade the lead a couple times, but not even halfway through this race yet, so still a lot left to do. But for third, look at this, 3 wide.
Taking full advantage of the situation there, especially was the 27 of Hill. Took the 3 wide. He kind of chose to back out of it there for a moment, but these guys are for these positions. Remember, this race is not for points, but these positions do carry over into the next race. Every position will help you in the next race to better your starting position. All of this matters.
A lot of drivers using every bit of the racetrack. You saw Barnes lighten up the rear tires through the stadium section, just trying to put all this torque to the ground. In the meantime, let's jump back through the field a little bit farther. Let's find Shelby Blackstock. Again, Tom O'Gorman's co-driver in the LA Honda World Civic Type R TCR and Michelin Pilot Challenge. He's up to 17th tonight. He started in 19th, so he hasn't made as much progress as maybe we would have thought, but especially race 2, I'd keep an eye on this 46 car.
Yeah, I mean, right now, it's kind of about survival. And like I said in the pre-race, Kyle, it's about survival and learning how your car races, how you handle this track, and how you stand up to the competition. So while he hasn't made too much momentum up right now, too much places, he's learning a lot that'll carry over into the next 2 races, I'm sure.
Oh, slipping and sliding off into turn 1, Lupfer and Reese Everard got together, the 2 yellow Mustangs, so some damage there, and Robert Casera is still fighting back, even with that damage on his nose. And, ooh, I think that's going to be the end of the night for Reese Everard. Look how bad that car's crabbing.
Yeah, he is way wide. He's going to have to watch out here. He's about to go in the kitty litter. He will park that car and I'm sure pull off for the race. Yeah, yes, he will, so bad luck for him. And Kyle, I'm looking up to, looks like the top 3, 4, 5 right now. Those positions are nose to tail right now. Barnes, Hill, and Johnston all over each other.
Yeah, so Justin Hilly in that 27, tucked right in behind Johnson. And Hilly was extremely good when these guys ran the UK Tour and the MX-5 a few weeks ago. This car totally different, but Hilly still as good as he was. Johnson looks up the inside into the hairpin. He'll take that 4th spot away, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hilly just kind of, gave it to him there. He saw the dive bomb kind of approaching. He said, all right, I'm going to back off. Maybe I can get you at the end of this straightaway heading into the next corner. Use that slipstream on what would be the DRS straightaway if we were running Formula 1 cars, but obviously not as such here. But this long straightaway, we'll see what he can do entering the next corner.
Yeah, Hilly actually lost a bunch of momentum there, so I'm not sure if he missed a shift, maybe the 4th to 5th shift, but lost some ground as Johnson closes in on Austin Barnes. That would be for 3rd. Another car poking out of line. That's Tom O'Gorman. Take a look at Casera. Remember, Tomo spun at the exit of turn 1 with getting the tires out on the turf, and has some left side damage, but it doesn't really seem to have slowed him down a whole lot.
Yeah, just kind of a little bit of a T-bone there, but it wasn't in the wheel well, luckily, so it didn't mess up his axle. And of course, the aerodynamics are fine because it was in the side, so he lost the positions. But where he is in the field, Kyle, he's about 8.5 seconds back and going for this pass, and he gets turned.
And gets turned again off the nose of Casera, and that time that might be a bit more significant.
Yeah, the rear end got some damage there, so that'll affect his rear downforce there. But just as we talked about being able to recover, well, he's going to now be in the top 10, now back to 15. So race bad to worse for O'Gorman.
Yeah, and that was Casera trying to come back on track. He was out wide over the edge of the course and turned O'Gorman getting back on. So, they haven't really talked about penalties a whole lot, but that would be one for that purple car, the Casera machine. If you go off track, it is your responsibility to get back on course without causing a collision. In that case, Casera was the one at fault for that incident.
Yeah, I would say so. And well, the post-race penalties will show their justice in the end. But Kyle, one thing we should let the fans know. Remember lap 1, our pole sitter of Hartley. Let's kind of see where he's back to the 11th position. So after that first lap spin by Hartley, he has made a pretty decent recovery.
And he's running really competitive lap times as well, closing in on Jacob Price, about to crack the top 10 again. And see, these cars are a little bit offline, and they're not carrying quite as much speed as Hartley through here. And Hartley, again, finished 2nd in the Spec MX-5 Sim Racing Challenge this year. He's on the first page of the best iRatings in the world. So he's really, really talented and working his way back inside the top 10 and sizing up Price and Abbott here.
Oh, wow. I just saw that, Kyle, now that you pointed out. I mean, you don't see many iRatings near 10,000, so one of the best sim racers in the world is Hartley, and definitely showing that with the comeback he's making this event.
And he's going to sit in behind a lot of patience here as well as he takes a dive underneath Abbott in turn number 11 as Price gets the spot as well. Throttling up behind him, there's Andrew Lanning in the 18. Haven't really mentioned him yet tonight. Started in 11th. He hasn't been able to make a whole lot of progress, though. Had a good run at Road Atlanta last week, looking to improve that this time.
Kyle up front, have a little bit of battle for the lead. 19 took a look in the hairpin, but it looks like the leader went a little bit deep in the corner there and was able to hold on to it. But Kyle, where we are in this race right now, coming to 2 laps to go, these 2 leaders are so evenly paced. It almost reminds me of kind of a NASCAR situation on a plate track. You have to wait to make your move. You're so even. You don't want to get repassed if you make your move too early.
Yeah, I think for Alessandrini and Houseel, these guys have raced each other plenty of times. They know how each other is going to race, and I think we're going to see a lot of patience here by DJ. I don't think he's going to rush this. He knows two laps around here is a whole lot of time, but I do think you want to be in 2nd on that final lap. So we'll keep an eye on this as it sizes up. Let's jump back to 17th. Is Val DiPietro in the number 102. He started 22nd, gained 5 spots to 17th. Right behind him, Shelby Blackstock in that 46, and then Kevin Burke in the 44.
Yep, 3 of these drivers, cars are nice and clean, which, not a lot of guys could say that at this point in the race. It's been a very calamity-ridden race number 1, but these guys doing the best they can. And watch out, that 102 nearly almost got doored by Blackstock there entering that corner, but luckily was able to avoid it.
Jumping back up to Austin Cobb, Johnston, Hilly, and this whole really battle for 3rd. Barnes has Johnson all over his rear bumper as they head towards the S's.
Yes, he does. Hilly does have that. He is in sight of that battle right now. He's in the 6th position, looking for position number 5. Go through the S's, kind of a 1-lane part of the track, but you can gain a lot of time to set you up for later corners. That looks like what he is trying to do right now, as he does gain some time.
And again, those yellow anti-cut curbs there, they're pretty violent, pretty rough to drive on, but in a car like this, you can use those to your advantage to help rotate that car around, and that's what Hilly did through that section. Excellent driving here. Trying to size up Austin Cobb, but wasn't able to quite close that gap as tight as he needs to.
Oh, he's not as, was that Cobb trying to make a pass there to the inside? I think that may be a lap vehicle.
That is Cobb and Johnston. So this is for position for 4th, and here comes Hilly with that run down the inside for turn 11.
Oh no, look at the dive in there on the inside.
Oh, he made it work.
He made it stick, but he's not going to have the momentum on the exit, and look how wide he goes on the exit in the grass.
Yeah, losing the grass a little bit to the advantage. You see Andrew Lanning and Tom O'Gorman. This is for 12th. Tomo, with that car, it looks like it's been rear-ended about 50 miles an hour on that rear wing, but he's still making it work side by side right in front of him. Robert Hartley taking a look at Jacob Price for 10th.
For 10th, here goes down the long straightaway. What's going to happen here as we do approach the left hand? The 03 of Hartley has the position on the 02 of Price. He's going to head down there. I think Price may try, Hartley may try to go a little bit more and get 2 for 1 there. Not going to quite happen. Abbott does shut the door, but the position is still in the taking. And look at right there, going still side by side.
Long way around for Hartley here. Can he carry the speed? You see right behind, Tomo's gotten back to P12, and Hartley's going to probably dive up the inside for turn 15. This is such a tight corner here, though. Not going to be able to carry the momentum he needs to complete this pass. Meanwhile, up front, DJ Alessandrini did get by Ken Houseal into turn number 12 and has actually broken up a gap. It's 1.6 seconds now over the number 19.
And I'd have to imagine, Kyle, we should be taking the white flag this time by.
Yeah, it'll be white flag, so last lap this time through for Alessandrini, a lap car that is the 32 that is being driven by Charles Boley. He's out of the way. But I'm not sure if Houseal's got the pace to get back by him, but Austin Cobb throwing a big block down the front straight on Nicholas Johnston. And we're going to split the lap car.
And look at that.
Oh, they get together.
Oh, contact.
And there goes Cobb.
Is he going to make the Tokyo drift?
Oh!
Oh my God!
That was awesome, but he wasn't able to.
Threading the needle there.
Oh, that was cool. But he's going to have to give up a bunch of time in the slowdown.
Yeah, well, the fact that he did not absolutely body slam anybody as he came across the track was just absolute 1 in a million luck there. I think everybody is appreciative of that. But again, just up front, Alessandrini had that one machine. He got that gap as we were watching all that battle on the 19 at that 1.5 seconds, and it looks like barring any kind of large mistake, which I wouldn't expect from the one.
Oh, Jacob Price got.
Just as I say that.
Jacob Price got knocked off course there a little bit through the S's. There was a big tussle for about 10th spot. Looks like they've all sorted it back out. But you were saying?
I was saying that Alessandrini is not expected to make a mistake, but he did make one there, and now that gap is less than 1 second here, Kyle. So there may be a little bit, there may be one last-ditch shot for the 19. I don't expect it, but he's within range, I do think.
Yeah, let's take a look off the gearbox of the number 1 down the straightaway. Right now it's 9/10 of a second. How much is the draft worth? I said it would probably be about a second, but I think you need more time than this, and that gap's going to come down to about 8, maybe 7/10 of a second into the braking zone. Look at the dive by Houseal to try to close that gap.
We've seen the mistakes getting on the throttle here tonight, Kyle, twice. So, I mean, you never know. It could happen. It's happened to the best. It's happened to leaders twice here tonight as we come through the final couple corners. The one is nice and smooth. The gap is less than a second, but just not enough time, I do not believe.
Yeah, through turn 15 now, and if you can get through the carousel clean, I think DJ will be good. Ken using every bit of the racetrack to try to close that gap. Not going to be able to do it, though. 6/10 of a second. I don't even think he's within a dive bomb range, unfortunately, but DJ playing this out perfectly. He started in the 3rd spot, had a bit of drama early in the going with everyone spinning out around him, but he's going to hang on through the final 2 corners here at Circuit of the Americas. It'll be pole for race number 2 if he can just get through this last corner without incident.
Yeah, Ken was able to knock off a second of that gap on the last lap, but you know he's going to end up coming about 4/10 of a second too short. Goes really wide, trying to get whatever momentum he can get. But race number 1 here tonight is going to go to DJ Alessandrini.
Austin Barnes comes home 3rd, Nicholas Johnston in 4th, Hilly in 5th, Luke for 6th, Cobb, Pennington, Abbott, and whoa, for 10th, this is getting dicey. Hartley on the inside, and Tomo on the outside as they come across the line, bumper to bumper. Hartley gets it by a nose, I believe. Yes, by 54 thousandths of a second.
And that'll give him that top 10. Remember, he was the pole sitter who had that lap 1 spin, but able to get back in the top 10, which means he's going to have a pretty decent racing position for race number 2, Kyle, but it's going to be right in the middle of the Hornet's Nest as well.
Kevin Zhu in the 15. He's going to roll home in 24th in his very patriotic-looking number 15 car. Then it's Jorge Ortiz, Kevin Glass, Ismael Sierra in the 27th place position, but relatively incident-free, I have to say. We didn't see a nasty big wreck in turn 1 like I thought we were going to see.
Yeah, we saw cars going wide. We saw cars, kind of adoring each other, sliding around, self-spins, Kyle. But like you said, everyone was able to minimize the multi-car incidents, and we'll hope that trend does continue in race 2 and race 3 here tonight.
So 4 lead changes in a 7-lap race here at COTA. That's pretty good here. We had, of the 50 or 47 cars we had start the race, we had 39 of them finish, which is pretty good ratio, I would say. But with that, we're going to jump to break for a couple minutes. We'll be back in just a few minutes for the beginning of race number 2. And again, we're going to do all the race interviews at the end of the night so we don't have to talk to people 3 times, because I'll bet you DJ will probably get another one here with how good he's been. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Stick with us.
Driving point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m. The feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist. Born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that has not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered lens? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. All we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now.
Welcome back live to Sim TV and the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup from Circuit of the Americas. It's round 2, race 2 here from COTA. And Corey, we saw in race 1 a lot of aggression, but surprisingly not a lot of carnage. We saw a couple incidents here and there with some of our front runners, but for the most part, no big accidents that took out a bunch of people. Do you think that's going to change for race number 2?
Well, if as we can see, looking around this track, the clouds have rolled in here, Kyle. So the track temp is going to go down, the grip is going to go up. So we saw a lot of self spins, people getting on the gas a little too hard, exiting the corners, looping it around. I think that may be a little bit less in this race, just because I think we're going to have a little bit more grip to play with.
A little bit more grip to play with, but I also do want to address something that we were seeing some people talk about, was also the track limits issue, because this is one of those racetracks that you can kind of get away with murder if you run a little bit wide. So basically the decision coming into tonight, much like in the real world, the Global MX-5 Challenge that came here, much like IndyCar and other series, basically every series other than F1 that comes here, they basically said if we can't police it with every person, every lap, we're just not going to police it. So there is no penalty for running out over the edge of the track on track out. You cannot cut corners, but you can run out wide. Of course, there are iRacing enforced penalties for cutting apexes, but you can go as far as you want out on the pavement on track exit. I just don't think it's really going to do you a whole lot of good there in the car like this. Now, in the S's especially, you will see some places where you can get a little bit greedy on the inside of the track as well, but I assure you that everyone else is being treated the exact same, because all the penalties or lack thereof are being applied the same way to everybody. So it's just a matter of what people are willing to use to be fast around here.
Yeah, Kyle, like you said, there's a lot of corners here where it's not that advantageous to go wide, because we have so many switchbacks, so many S's here. So if you go overly wide on one turn, it's going to put you in a bad position going into the next one. But on the few that, aren't like that, like we see some cars going through right now, I mean, like you said earlier in the other race, if it's there, you may as well use it. Take advantage of it, because these positions are hard to get.
Well, we also saw in race 1 that it wasn't completely without penalty. Looking at this guy, Tom O'Gorman, remember, he spun out of the exit of turn 1 because he spun his tires on the turf. Now, that green stuff on the exit of the corners is not grass, but it's not concrete, it's turf. And it's very low grip in comparison to the surrounding pavement. So you get on that and you try to throttle up, you're going to be probably losing time more than anything. So where it really gets to be a problem is if you go beyond that and get onto the asphalt like you see Tom do right there. That's where you can gain some time if you're really good at it. But I do think that staying on track is probably the best way to be fast around here. And I think once you get clear of all the chaos, you'll probably do all right staying on course.
Yeah, because like you said, this track is just so wide, Kyle. Like you said, you may get a little bit of time by going wide, but when you go wide, you're just adding so much extra distance to the track that with the relative low speeds here in these Mustangs, I'm not sure it's going to be as advantageous as it would be, say, in an open wheel car where the speeds are a lot higher.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do now is grid them up, re-rack them, restack them for race number 2. It'll be the top 10 inverted will be your starting order for tonight's race. Of course, the rest of the order determined by race 1 finishing order. So warm-up is complete, and we'll bring you down to the starting lineup here in just a moment here from Circuit of the Americas. Again, you mentioned earlier the cloudy skies. The track temp has fallen a couple degrees since we got here. It's now down to 83, so that's going to help grip just a little bit. So your pole sitter for the second event of the night is going to be DJ. I don't know if they inverted the top 10. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Race 3 is the one with the top 10 inverted. I got myself confused there.
Don't confuse me, the newbie, Kyle. I got to go off you.
Yeah, so race 2, again, is set by race 1 finishing order. Race 3 has the top 10 inverted from race 2. So there is your starting lineup on the left-hand side of the screen as we wait for the rest of the field to get gridded. Again, DJ.
Kyle, one thing to note as well, Kyle, I want to point out,
Sure.
is this track is so large that we talked about the cloud cover all over the track. The cool thing about iRacing is the cloud cover is dynamic, so there are parts of this track that are still going to be in bright sunshine. Those parts of the track are going to have a higher track temp and natively have less grip appropriately. So you kind of have to really pay attention to which specific corner we're going in, because it'll affect how you have to approach it.
Absolutely. The dynamicism of this simulator is what makes it so entertaining to watch. 5 seconds left in the gridding process here. Looks like everybody's made it. 42 drivers for the beginning of race number 2. Red lights are on, waiting for the green. DJ Alessandrini, Ken Hauseal on the front row. Green flag flies, and we're racing at COTA for race 2 of Crowd Control Cup.
Yes, we are. And we go up the hill, and we're trying to see who's going to have the advantage to turn number 1. Hauseal on the outside. I thought he was going to try to dive it in there on the outside. Yes, he is. trying to get the run on exit, but it's not going to be able to, but they're going to be side by side for third.
We're 6 wide in the back of the field here, a bit of a stack up, but we're all through clean and green up front. Alessandrini gets clear. It's Austin Barnes on the inside of Nicholas Johnson as they head to the S's. Door slamming through here. Looks like Johnson had to cut a curb, as did Barnes as well. So everyone's trying to get out of the way here of just each other. Here comes Lupfer in the 688 up the outside.
That's going to be a tight call for Barnes on a cut course penalty there. He was really straddling that curb, but I think he is fine based on what we can see. But again, coming through these S's, side by side for many, trying to see who's going to get it. But look up front, Alessandrini goes really wide. Cosio's going to try to look to the inside, but the one will recover.
Nicholas Johnson back into third. Lupfer piles up into fourth place. All sorts of drivers looking to the inside here for turn number 11. That is Justin Hill.
Oh, the 41!
Oh, man.
Contact!
Everybody's stacking up on corner exit. Tom O'Gorman slow. A bunch of damage on his right front.
Yeah, the 41 there, Kyle. He kind of licked the stamp and sent it in there using somebody as a bumper there, but everyone able to get through without spinning. We are 3 wide, about 10th on back, as these guys still trying to sift themselves through and figure out who's going to be running where coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, Jeremy Lucas is also spun out of the exit at turn number 11, but into turn 12. It's Hauseal all over Alessandrini, but back for 8th place. There's Eric Pennington, Robert Hartley, and look who's also here. Rob Casera, our pole sitter from race number 1. He was one of the fastest drivers all week long. I know he's 10th right now, but do not count him out of winning this race if he can just get through some of this traffic.
Yeah, especially if we are going to have that third race invert for the top 10, Kyle. Maybe more advantageous to kind of stay back where he is and take advantage of that heading into the third race. We'll see what the strategy ends up being. And you see guys going really wide here off of the left-hander, but everyone is starting to kind of get themselves, dotting the I's and crossing the T's here, get themselves sorted out here on lap 1.
Riding on board with Tom O'Gorman in the number 94. Looks like even with that right front damage, his steering is straight, so he should be able to be competitive. He's going to cross over Pennington in the exit of 19 and down into 20. Going to dive on the brakes, downshift to third, and fire off to complete lap number 1 here at COTA.
Yeah, that 94, he has just been, a magnet for damage here tonight, Kyle, but just using that speed he has, that skill he has, is able to still make the most of it, hanging on to the top 10, kind of going down for a little bit of defensive line, kind of snaking himself down the front straightaway, trying to hold off Pennington. Will Pennington dive off into 1? He will to the inside.
Whoa.
Trying to block his Gorman, but he's going to have to back off. And
they run each other wide, and here comes Shelby Blackstock. Tom and Shelby, co-drivers in the real world of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, now competitors here at COTA today.
They were trying to go 3 wide through the
Oh, he gets tagged!
3 wide.
Oh, Pennington's around, and he might catch the wall. He'll stay off it with all that runoff.
Yeah, the beauty of the parking lot here at COTA is Pennington will be able to use that to his advantage, have to merge safely into traffic. A big pack coming his way. He will merge in back safely. But just as reference up front, nothing has changed. Cosio hanging back about a half second from Alessandrini, and then about a second gap behind that to third.
Drew Cleaver back in 24th place. He started 42nd. That is incredible. 42nd to 24th in a lap and a half. That is unbelievable.
And that pass rate, I will take that any day of the week if he's able to continue. And he's still trying to make some passes right now. Here he comes by, I think that was Sarah in the 32, clears that pass going into 23rd for Cleaver.
Yeah, a bit dicey behind him as well. There's a whole lot of cars in this 27th, 28th battle here. Kevin Burke, Brandon Abbott, Stephen Pruden, and more.
Yeah, that 32 of Sierra there, Kyle. He was battling up there with Cleaver a couple laps ago. Something's happened to him. He's back to the 28th spot and still losing some more positions. Here comes the 24 Burke.
Oh, kind of shove him off into the red stuff a little bit onto the rumble strip in the middle of the straightaway. And hopefully they give each other enough space to race down into turn number 12. Jacob Price has spun around at the exit at 12. And he'll drop down the order here, and that will guarantee him a very low starting position in race 3 unless he can gather some of those spots back. But yeah, it looks like it's crabbing a little bit too.
Yeah, I'd say that just a little bit, that 21. I don't know if he's going to try to save the rest of the race or he's going to be coming to pit road, but definitely some handling issues, to say it nicely, for the 0-2.
Yeah, I started 11th, so back to 31st right now and continues to drop. Meanwhile, up into 6th, Robert Hartley in the 0-3. Where did he start? 9th up to P6 and looking really good as at the moment. There's Austin Barnes. He's going to hit pit lane with some damage here for the 51. This is going to destroy his starting position for race 3.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I don't see anything overly drastic, Kyle, based on what I can see on my end on that machine. I don't know if it's, some kind of suspension damage, but that car doesn't look that bad. I'm curious what's going on with the 51.
Kevin Burke has just gone around. He got into it with Stephen Pruden. They got together at the exit of the carousel, and they both spun off course, but now both back rolling again.
We do have a side-by-side battle for the third position. Well, no longer side-by-side as Max Lupfer has managed to get by Ed Husil in the 19 machine through the S's.
Yeah, Lupfer's had a really good race so far and started up front towards this one. And again, I think in the Grid Life iRacer stuff in the past, he's kind of run pretty decently, but this is the best we've seen him compete. And he's got Husil all over his rear bumper, but this will be a solid top 5 position for him as we look back for 9th. Tom O'Gorman's slow. I'm not sure if that's a slowdown penalty or more damage that he's got in that 94.
Yeah, looks like he is, I think he may be yielding to a slowdown there, but you can see the right front damage. I think it has actually increased, so something has happened. And on these long straightaways here at COTA, the aerodynamic disadvantage there is going to be very drastic.
How about Ryan Carwile in the 71? He's in 16th right now after starting in 19th. Gil Winningham right behind him. Up in front of them, Val DiPietro under fire from another car that's landing on the bottom. And DiPietro runs wide, and Carwile's going to stick it up the inside through turn 11.
Yeah, very, very cautious line there for Val DiPietro. I think he was just maybe conceding the spot. He went so much wider than necessary there, wondering if he was just playing it safe there, but Carwile not able to take advantage. He'll have to fall back in line.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, starting 14th, if that's where he finishes, is pretty good. I mean, considering there's almost 50 people here, you don't want to get yourself spun out up the road. That's Ido Waxman getting overtaken by Abbott, who runs way wide at the exit, and Abbott has to give up some time, and Lanning's going to take advantage of it.
He will, and just behind that, Carwile did take another run onto the back of Val DiPietro, but did not able to get it, was not able to complete the pass. So differences in braking zones there. That 102 is very early in the braking zone. Carwile was trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you see Carwile run a little bit wide, but gets the power down nicely at the exit of turn 15. Now into the carousel. High speed through here as they all chase each other towards the top 10 positions. Max Lupfer in the 688 was slow, and he's going to get overtaken by Husil. Actually, I don't know if they was a pass position, but
we do have a battle shaken up for the lead. Kyle Johnson has been able to close in on Alessandrini. It was about a second. Now it's only about 2 car lengths.
Yeah, DJ's so good, so if you can go up there and straight up pass DJ Alessandrini, you're really, really solid. And Johnson chasing DJ through these S's. We saw earlier when Tomo was chasing DJ that DJ was really good through the first part of him, but kind of sacrificed some speed towards the exit. We'll see, but Johnson closes up big time through turns 3, 4, and 5.
Yes, he is, and the rhythm section of the track, you have to just kind of follow the leader for the most part. We've seen people go side by side through here. It is better to go single file and try to see what you can get as you clear through these corners, and just staying patient. We saw it in that first race with the 19 and the 1. Sometimes it's about just staying in line and waiting to make the pass as the laps do close, but I think that 20 may be showing the move here to the right side down the straightaway.
Yeah, the driver's right. That's going to force DJ to take a compromise line into the hairpin here. That's going to make him run wide on exit, so Johnson's going to cross him over. Textbook move here, but just couldn't quite throttle down to get that run on DJ, but he'll be in the slipstream and probably have a really good shot at it here into turn 12.
Yes, he will. He's going to have that run with the slipstream. We do have some slower cars ahead. I'm sure they will yield appropriately as the leaders are coming by with a head of steam. Let's see if 20 does make the move to the left. Yep, he's going to show the move. What's the 1 going to do? Is he going to kind of let him go? Is he going to try to battle him side by side through the hairpin? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, DJ didn't go defensive there, but I think he knows he didn't want to do that because the next 2 corners after this are 2 right-handers, so he put himself in perfect position to defend. If he could hang on through 12, he's got 13 and 14 guaranteed. Excellent maneuver by DJ to give up that driver's left position because it will be an advantage in the next couple corners, but Johnson still fighting hard through 15.
Yeah, he was hanging on by a thread, and he sent it in there trying to get that last 1% to see if he could stay side by side, but just, the orientation of the track was not to his benefit there, and he will have to fall in line, but he's still close enough to be able to, get back together and make another move as soon as he can.
Great battle for the lead. We're going to continue watching this for the time being as they set up for turn number 20. This will be the completion of lap number 4. Johnson sends it down the inside for turn 20.
Hard on the binders and hard on the accelerator. Nice acceleration there. We saw people spinning out in race 1, but was able to get on the gas nice and clean there. We do have a lead change as we take lap number 6, but Alessandrini, what is he going to do entering corner number 1? Is he going to try to take the move into the hairpin?
Up the hill, and this braking zone for turn 1 is so wide it makes you get a little bit greedy down in there, but DJ doesn't get in over his head. He'll just tuck back in line behind the 24. The S's this time through.
Yeah, the 20 took a pretty defensive line entering the S's there, and the 1 was able to take a natural line, and that kind of gave him the benefit. But they're both going to have to deal with these lap cars in the worst possible space entering in the middle of the S's we'll see how these lappers, they are going to go off track. Very respectable move there.
Yeah, I think everyone's just willing to give these guys plenty of space as they battle for the lead here. Again, 42 drivers on track. You got to share the space, and those drivers, Jeremy Lucas and Brennan Burke, excellently getting out of the way to make sure that leaders can have their own race going on. Meanwhile, Tom O'Gorman has hit pit lane to fix his car. He's back out in 33rd, so it's going to be a long night for him, starting from probably at least 25th on back for race number 3.
The bad luck award of the race, I think, of the night, I think so far, we're at least giving it to the 94. He has probably the speed to battle with these guys in the top 5, just, hasn't had the brakes to be able to, take advantage of that speed, but does look like the one was able to, he dropped back just a little bit from the 20, giving him a little bit of breathing room coming down the straightaway. I don't think the one's going to have enough slipstream to take a move into this next corner, but he's definitely going to close in on the braking zone.
And you're going to size him up for the straightaway briefly. I do want to take you back to 17th place Jorge Ortiz. He's got a very 90s looking paint scheme on the side of that car.
Oh my God, the classic food court cup. That's awesome.
It looks great. We're going to jump back up to the lead though, because DJ's all over Johnston as they head through the arena section. Johnston slipping and sliding off course through turn 15, trying to get the power down. DJ runs out to his outside for the carousel.
What did I just say 2 laps ago, that he was able to get on the gas nice and smooth, not have any wheel spin? I kind of gave him the commentator's curse there, and he does that a lap later, and it may cost him the lead, as the one is going to have the advantage to the left side of the track entering this next corner. But look at the Johnston, send it on in there to keep the lead.
Yeah, brake rotors glowing on both these race cars, very evenly matched right now. Johnston's just a hair better in overall lap time. DJ's got about a 2:25.0 as his best time. Johnston a 2:24.4 as they cross the line. There'll be 3 laps to go. Actually, make that 2 laps to go this time. Lap 6 of 7 here as they chase each other down towards turn 1.
And while they do chase each other down, I think this duo up front,
oh no,
Halsey,
wide. Johnston's way wide, and Alessandrini's going to cross him under. And Halsey is closing, as you mentioned. He's coming in from behind, but Johnston was super compromised on corner exit, but DJ's still fighting hard.
Yeah, all this battling has led to it being a 3-car battle. So now we have the 19 into the mix as well. So any move that the 1 makes on the 20, he's going to have to watch out to see if Ken in the 19 is going to be able to take advantage and maybe pass him on that. And now look at, he's right there, 3 cars under a blanket.
You don't look too far behind that. There's Max Lupfer that's also approaching. So these 3, as they battle, they're bringing more and more cars into the fight. Blood in the water is what Max Lupfer smells right now as they head down towards the hairpin.
Yes, they are. Now, what do you do if you're the 20? You make one mistake, you can go to 3rd. But if you're the 19, do you wait for a 3-wide move? Do you wait and just try to follow the 1 through? What do you do? Because now they're side by side through the lead. I'm
going to probably follow DJ because he's been the one hounding Johnston as Johnston runs out wide over the grass on exit. And now they're going to be drafting side by side. So Ken Halseal's got to pick a guy to go with. I think he'll probably pick DJ because he's the one that he's more familiar with. Johnston relatively new to this group. But for now, he might just let them battle it out and maybe see if they'll get together and make it easy for him.
I mean, based on what we've seen some clean racing, we've seen some hard racing, we've seen some self-mistakes, so all of that is an option. It may not be the worst decision, just kind of let back and let it slide, let it play through. The 1 will take the lead, but Johnston may try to dive back in as we head into the right-hander. Look at the 19 going to the left side of the track on Johnston.
Inches to play with here, and Alessandrini's got cleared again for the lead. Johnston slots back into 2nd. Halsey aggressive, trying to get that spot, but couldn't do it. He's going to size him up for the exit of 15. A minute left in this race. They will have 1 more lap when they come back around.
And it's going to be 3 drivers for 1 lap to see who is going to get this win. And honestly, Kyle, we say it right now, we have 3 drivers. I cannot pick one of the 3, so circumstantial. Could be 1 mistake, could just be an aggressive move. We'll have to see what's going to happen.
They could use the bumpers as well. Johnston all over the back of the 1. It just takes us a slight miscalculation. He's going to take a look up the inside for turn 20. Deep on the brakes, deep in the ABS. He'll have the spot out of turn 20. White flag in the air here. 1 more time around COTA.
Now, is it better for the 1 to get back in line, or is it better for him to drag race on the outside, hitting a 1 on the outside? It looks like he's going to drag race him and maybe try to outbrake him and keep the lead heading into 1.
If this was any other racetrack, I'd say tuck in behind it and take another attempt, but this is a 20-turn course. You're going to have a chance to gain spots, you have a chance to lose spots. I just don't think you can give up the lead here, and he won't. GJ fights back hard. Johnston might have missed a shift. Halsey cuts turn 2 big time. That could be a slowdown there.
It's going to be a close situation. Johnston back into 2nd, and This may be what he wants because we still have 2 long straightaways to get some slipstream and take another shot at it. So if you're the 20, maybe to stay in line and try to maximize that run heading out of the back straightaway, but he's going to dive it on in right now.
Opportunistic move. He's going to get tagged by the 19 behind, but they still are 1, 2, 3. Looper closes from 4th. It's going to be a 4-car battle before this is all said and done.
20 gets a little bit loose on the accelerator there, but he wasn't able to, he didn't lose any time. That 19 absolutely hounding the back of Johnson, and this is going to be a very important left-hand corner leading onto the straightaway.
Set it up. Get that run onto the straight. Don't miss your shifts. Use that clutch. They're all a little bit wide. Lupfer, he sees blood in the water. He's going to try to close this up. Hausel and Johnson, will they bump draft together? They've got one more straightaway. Look at the run they're going to get on DJ heading towards 12.
Well, I'll say DJ has enough of a lead. It's not comfortable, but he has a little bit of room to play with as we head to the end of the straightaway into the braking zone. The 19's going to go under the 20.
Oh,
look at the
3 wide. They're going to back out. Hausel does.
Backed off.
Oh, man. Alessandrini out over the edge of the curb into turns 13 and 14 now. He's going to have drivers right. Johnson going to drive around the outside. Hausel's going to try to follow side by side for the lead.
They're still side by side, and Alessandrini using the advantage of the track right now, but he's now going to be set up on the worst side of it. He's going to be on the outside onto the left-hander, but Johnston's going to try to take advantage of it. He can't
man.
do it.
They just get back on the
one.
course. Finally, the driver's right-hander for the carousel, but Johnson might be able to carry some more speed through here. Can he stay alongside for turn 19?
He's going to be close. He's still going to have it into the first left-hander. He's going to have the run. He's going to dive on in there. Can the one stay side by side, heading into the chute, into the final corner?
He shoves DJ out wide. 1 corner left in race 2 of the night. Side by side, coming back to the checkers. DJ runs wide. Johnson powers on throttle, coming to the line. Johnson gets him by a nose.
What a race. What a race. Nice, clean, and aggressive, Kyle. You can't ask for anything more than that out of these guys.
92 thousandths of a second was the gap at the line. That was awesome. That was so cool.
The strategy that the one used, he kind of backed off at the end of the straightaway heading into the left-hander. I thought he was kind of trying to set himself up there, almost purposely going to second to set himself up, but it almost kind of backfired on him, and then just, the way the track's set up, he was on the wrong side of the track for the last couple corners.
Well, there is still some more racing going on throughout the field. You see Charles Boley in the 37 all torn up. This is on the back straightaway here. And still about a half a lap left for these guys. Tomo slipping and sliding into the braking zone, getting by Ismail Sierra. So we'll let these guys finish up here as someone was around. That was Andrew Rasmussen, spun out in turn 12. Not totally done yet. But we are going to go back and watch a replay of that finish before we leave, because that was spectacular.
Yes, it was. And again, Kyle, I know I'm here kind of last second to help out with this, but if this is the kind of race that these guys do every week, sign me up. I want to watch these races every week with you.
They're awesome. And again, these guys, the majority of them have at least some real-world experience, whether it be wheel-to-wheel racing in GLTC or NASA or SCCA, whether it be track days or time attack, that sort of thing. A wide diversity of talent makes these a lot of fun to watch. And Boley finishing this race, his car crabbing sideways. I think every piece in that car is bent, and he's got Tomo all over him for one more corner.
Yep, that 94. Remember I call him the bad luck charm here tonight. One of the fastest guys that just has nothing to show for it. But here comes that 37. Crab walks his way to the 29th place finish, and O'Gorman will drop, carry out the last of the top 30.
I'm going to go back quickly and take a look at the replay of the finish as they came across the line. Just spectacular stuff. Here is a look at the last couple of corners. And this is so fascinating watching DJ try to set this up to get a run onto the straight. But when you're on driver's right in this final corner, there's not as much runoff as there is in other places. So you can't really run as wide and carry quite as much speed because that turn 20 is so tight.
And it's just because this track is so wide that you can't really pinch someone and hurt them as much as you could on a narrower track where you just, even if you try to pinch someone, Kyle, you're not pinching them as hard, and it's not going to bog them down enough to make that outside have any kind of chance.
Looking on board from Hausel as they came to the final corner, and plenty of room given. I don't even think they made contact in the closing moments. It was just excellent, clean racing by very talented people. So there's a look at the race finish, and we're going to show you the race results here in just a moment. Here they are. Of course, your top two only separated by 92 thousandths of a second. We had 4 drivers within a second of each other at the line.
Yeah, that just makes you wonder what's going to happen in this last race. Now these guys know the track, they know the cars, they know how how each of their competitors is and where the the advantages and disadvantages are, and they're going to put all that to use in the final race here tonight.
And again, Promo Ravi finishing out a top 20 tonight. He'll start 20th. Also, we have to keep in mind who's our 10th place driver who'll be starting on pole. It will be Andrew Lanning, because for race 3, we take this order, and that's your grid for race 3 with the exception that the top 10 are inverted. So Johnson, Alessandrini, House will be starting 10th, 9th, and 8th. So that battle will get to resume with some more cars in front of them in just a couple minutes. So that's what we got to look forward to. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back live to SimTV and Grid Life iRacers Circuit of the Americas Crowd Control Cup. It's race 3 of round 2 here at Circuit of the Americas. And Corey, we just watched 2 spectacular races. DJ Alessandrini and Nicholas Johnson coming nose to the start-finish line. That was the race to determine your starting lineup for race number 3, except the top 10 are going to invert. So that means that Johnson and Alessandrini and others that finished up towards the front now have to start towards the back half of the top 10. Another 15-minute race. The intensity level just kicked up another notch.
Yes, it did. We saw an amazing race, Kyle, but again, now with the invert, we're going to see, well, what are people going to do that have track position now, and are they going to be able to pull ahead and get enough of a lead before, Alessandrini and the 19 of Ken Houseel are able to get back up there in such a short race, Kyle? I think that's what we're going to have to watch.
I think so. There's also some other drivers that have had some rotten luck tonight. Tom O'Gorman, we talked about him several times this evening. Competitor in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, and this is one of his favorite racetracks, and he's just had rotten luck. He'll be starting towards the tail of the field. I bet you he'll make up a whole bunch of spots. Right in front of him is Shelby Blackstock, his real-world co-driver. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Shelby tonight, but I think he'll be starting around 20th, around 15th to 20th, so keep an eye on him. Other driver I want to watch, he's not on course just yet, is going to be Max Lupfer in the 688, finished 4th in race 2, and he'll be starting in front of the guys that he was battling. I don't know if he has quite the pace to beat them just on raw performance, but with a little bit of track position and a little bit of luck, I think that 688 could go to victory lane.
Yeah, by all means. I mean, we've pretty much seen that you may not even need the speed to keep up with the leaders, because once the leaders, which we've seen all night, start battling so aggressively, it was pulling other drivers into the mix. So if you even have comparable pace, wait for the leaders to start battling, take advantage of it, and you can close in that way.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our track conditions for race number 3. A little bit cooler still, 65 degrees in the air, 70 degrees on the track. And again, it's about 7 o'clock. Is it evening 7 o'clock, Corey? I think we're getting pretty close to sunset here.
Yep, 7 o'clock, and sim time is here in the middle of May, so we won't have the sun going down. These guys will still have ample light. We may have a little bit of glare these guys might have to deal with in a couple corners, which will be an interesting dynamic, but definitely cooler track conditions still, so we'll see if there's still some wheel spin going on at the exit of these corners, or if that might be alleviated.
I think we saw the grip level improve a little bit in race 2. I don't think we saw quite as many slipping and sliding. We also had a few less cars, but for this one, I think we've got about 40-something still, so there'll still be a fairly sizable field with 30 seconds left in warm-up here. You see Shelby and Tomo just playing around a little bit here, planning for their attack in race number 3. Other drivers I think we should keep an eye on, looking throughout the rest of the field. Ken Houseel, again, he's been up front battling, but hasn't been to victory lane yet tonight. After his win last week at Road Atlanta, he's got the confidence and the skill to do it. I think he just needs a little bit of luck. He'll be starting from, I believe, 8th position here in race 3. Warm-up complete. Let's head down to the grid here in just a moment. Get them re-racked and restacked for our 3rd and final event of the night.
We've seen so much go on, Kyle. We've seen where track position, and not even track just position, track location, where you are, where you're making these moves here tonight. You got to set yourself to be on the right side of the track or the left side of the track, depending where you are, so that you're in the best position to take advantage of these passes. We've seen drivers not be set up very well, and it backfires on them when they make moves.
Absolutely. Again, this will be the last race until January 7th. We will resume the series at Sebring International Raceway, and then the week after that will be the season finale at Road America. So it'll be a couple-week break for the holiday season before we go racing for the 3rd time this time around. So 38 drivers on the grid this time. After we started at a max, I think we had 47 or something in race 1, so down a couple, but still going to be plenty of action as we get ready to go racing. So your starting lineup on the left-hand side of the screen: Andrew Lanning is on pole, Nelson, Engelbert, Blackstock, Hartley, Casera, Lupfer, Houseel, Alessandrini, Johnston, your top 10.
All right, Kyle, let's do a little running bet with each other. How many laps before the 1 is in the top 3?
I'm going to give you 2 laps. I think it's going to take him a little bit of time. These guys are all really, really good. Here we go. Red lights are on. Green flag is out, and racing at COTA for race number 3.
I'll tell you, Lanning didn't really get up to speed too well there. I think spun the tires just a little bit too much. Nelson on the outside, I think he's going to maybe take advantage of it. We're going to see someone try to sneeze on the inside, 3 wide. Trying to go for 3rd there.
Oh, Robert Hartley. Oh, there's Shelby Blackstock's going to spin. He saves it, but there's a lot of contact up towards the front of the field.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 drivers there. Someone had an expired.
Oh, Nicholas Johnston's in it. Johnston,
oh no,
our race 2 second place driver, as well as Rob Casera, they're all in it. at the exit of turn 1. Let's focus back up front, though. Nelson, Lanning, Hartley, Loop for Alessandrini, your top 5.
Yeah, Lanning lost the lead at the exit of 1, but was able to actually get by Nelson there in the S's to retake the lead over Nelson in the 663. We'll see if he's going to be able to pull out there and get a lead, but no, he didn't get off that corner at all that time, and here comes Nelson with a run to the inside.
Down into the hairpin for the first time in race 3 behind him. There's Robert Hartley taking a look on Loop for third into the hairpin. Lanning on the short way around, Nelson the long way around. It's going to be the fast way that prevails. Loop for throttles back up for third.
Yeah, using that driver's right, and he took advantage of it there, and he's going to have the slipstream down the straightaway using the draft off of Nelson in the 663. That may pull him along for that second position, but he's not going to be on the proper side of the track coming into the hairpin.
Alessandrini sizing up a look here. He's looking left, looking right, backs out way early. Going to be cautious here into the braking zone. Right behind Lupfer as they head into turn 12. Hartley on Alessandrini's inside. Behind him, Blackstock and Moore sizing up a pass on these guys.
I'll tell you, Hartley used every little ounce of braking power that his Mustang had to try to get underneath the one Alessandrini there, but he was not able to take advantage of it, had to drop back, and now he has Austin Cobb in the 36 to his driver's right.
Oh, together, the leaders together, crashing out of turn 15. And Nick Nelson has looped it.
What is up, Kyle, with being the leader in this race on the opening laps? We've seen so many issues with the leaders, and now that's going to give it to Lupfer and Alessandrini. What we've seen all race, these two drivers being very quick all night. They're going to be back up front, and the one is going to be in second after lap number 1.
Wow, all right, well, so what happened there was that Lanning throttled up and went wide and actually chased the 663 off course. They got together off tracks. That's a naughty no-no, but for the sideways for the lead, DJ Alessandrini gets it as they come across the line. So I think, did that lap go to Lupfer or did it go to Alessandrini? It did look like it went to Lupfer, so at least I was right. It'll take DJ until lap 2 to get to the lead, but he's still second right now.
Yeah, lap 2.01 if you want to be technical with it, but for the time being, Lupfer is going to hang on to it.
I was looking behind Austin Cobb and Blackstock and Austin Barnes, all sorts of sideways out of turn 1, but they got it sorted out.
Yeah, we have 2x2 up front, but as you were alluding to, Kyle, we're going back about 5th on back, and they are absolutely gaggled, to quote Matt Malone, through the S's right now. 2x2 guys sliding everywhere trying for position.
That's Val DiPietro in the 102. He started 14th. He's gained 8 spots up to 6th right now. He's flying at the front of this field. You see Cobb take a whole chunk of curb. Blackstock follows him through, and look at Austin Barnes. He's been battered and tattered tonight, but he's willing to get himself back inside the top 10 with a little bit of pushing, shoving, and there goes Blackstock.
And just got the right-hand hook into the fence there for Blackstock, and he's still trying to get himself sorted, letting some guys go. He's going to go all the way to, in the early 20s for positions now. Horrible break for that driver in the 19 machine.
Here's a look as they come up over the crest of the hill. Does Blackstock run him out wide? Yeah, maybe a little bit there. They got together, and Blackstock's going to call that an evening. Meanwhile, back up front, Lupfer still has the lead. Alessandrini drops the driver's left into the hairpin here into turn number 12. And DJ should have this relatively easily, but Robert Hartley right behind. Remember, Hartley was the one that won the Grid Life iRacers UK Tour a couple weeks ago in the MX-5, so we know Hartley's really good.
Yeah, we do, and he's been fast all race. We talked about letting the leaders battle and using that as your opportunity to close in. That's exactly what Hartley's doing, and interesting to see Lanning in the 18. Remember, he hasn't really been a factor all night, but he used that pole position for this race, and he's trying to tag on to the end of these top 3 and 4th spot, but he is starting to lose a little bit of time to them.
The one driver that we haven't really seen a whole lot of yet is Ken House. He started 8th up to 5th, but DJ started in 9th and is now in 1st. So DJ's progress has been a whole lot better than Ken's as they come through the complete lap number 2. DJ Alessandrini's got the lead. Lupfer sits second. Let's jump pretty deep in the field here. Let's talk about Jeremy Lucas and his 8th. We haven't talked about him all night, but 35th to 18th in the early going here.
Sometimes you just have to be, sometimes you got to be good, sometimes you got to be lucky. I think Lucas, he's done a little bit of both tonight to, salvage that many positions in such a short time frame. So definitely good bit of driving by that 8 machine to take advantage of what's been going on around him.
Kevin Glass in the number 11 chasing Kevin Burke and a couple other drivers. You see Abbott slow on the exit of the corner, might have gotten a slowdown penalty, had to give it up. Kevin Glass 32nd to 20th, so he's also come up a pretty similar amount of positions.
And who's that taking a look to the inside? That green machine going to the inside.
That's Charles.
Turn number 1.
Sorry, that's Kevin Glass in the green car, getting by Boley in the 13. That's the red car.
Yeah, now he's going to be in the proper position heading into the S's to move into that 19th position. So a good bit of driving there into the into turn number 1 to take that position.
So right up.
I do see Drew Cleaver in the 917, Kyle. I think we've lost him. Don't know what happened to him, but lost him on track, unfortunately.
Potentially an internet issue for him. He just dropped back into 10th, so it looks like he'll be okay. Also want to talk about Promo Robbie here, the number 98. He started this race in 20th up to 16th. Again, a real-world GLTC competitor. He's getting an S2000 sorted up for the 2020 season, and I do think he will be at COTA here in just a couple months in February. So getting some practice in a Mustang for his S2000 drive in February. So looking forward to that. Kevin Burke taking a look at Jeremy Lucas into the hairpin. Lucas goes defensive, though, behind.
Yes, he does, and able to hang on for now as the...
Foley goes around for a loop right behind him.
Yeah, as soon as we call something up, something's been happening. These guys on the exit of the corner is just really struggling tonight. 13 drops back to the 24th position, but no damage on that machine that I can see. So he will carry on and try to dig and see what he can get back.
So Alessandrini's gotten this lead, and it looks like he's got it pretty much locked up here because no one's able to really gain a whole lot. You see Lutfer, Hartley, and Lanning, and Hausil, the rest of your top 5, but no one's really running any quicker. I will tell you, Kevin Zhu and Val DiPietro, that's for 12th position. And it looks like Zhu will get on by and complete that pass.
He will, and this going back to what we were talking about with the leader, Kyle. I mean, we've seen all race that it's really been Hausil and Alessandrini that have been the fastest on pure pace, and some other drivers have been able to take advantage, on this track position, slipstream, and just being there in the right spot when there's been battles going on. But now that one is kind of, right at the edge of breaking the slipstream, if he can get another 10th or so, I think he may be able to use that amazing pace and maybe get himself a little bit of a gap.
3 laps complete here at Circuit of the Americas, race number 3. Alessandrini's got the lead here. But we have a couple drivers that we could talk to if we would like, and I think what we're going to do is Drew Cleaver sitting in 10th. He's got Andrew Abbott to his inside, and as soon as this pass is complete, I would think we'll drag him in and talk to him. I'm going to put him back because he's side by side. I don't want to bother him.
I was going to say, he's a side by side through a busy part of the track is Cleaver, trying to see what he can do in relation to making that pass on Abbott, but hopping the curbs through the S's, and looks like Cleaver is okay for the time being, but that may not last because he's still under fire.
Great battle for 10th right now. We will talk to Max Lutfer here in a moment because I think he's in a little bit less crazy of a battle, but Abbott and Cleaver absolutely going at it, crossing each other over back and forth. Looks like Abbott will have that spot for 10th. So Lutfer's got to defend from Robert Hartley here in just a moment. So I think what we're going to do, we'll talk to him before it gets too crazy. Hey, Max Lutfer, it's Kyle from SimTV. Got a copy?
I got you loud and clear, brother.
Hey, well, looks like it's pretty intense out there right now. You're running 2nd. We're 4th in race 2. We got Hartley all over you. Do you think you guys can work together to catch DJ?
I kind of hope so, because I do not have the pace to catch DJ, but I'm hoping that maybe if Hartley can get by me in a clean manner here, I'll be able to hang on to his bumper to try to catch back up.
How much does running wide get you here? Is it worth any time, or do you think it's quicker to stay on track?
Especially as the tires start to go, I found that it's probably worth a couple tenths around the track. So I've been abusing them quite hard, but...
All right, Max, we're going to let you get back to work. Go out there and catch DJ. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
All right, so Lutfer giving us a mid-race interview. Bit of a bobble there through the carousel. Hartley closing. They are losing time to DJ, and I think Hartley sees that and wants to get on by. Ooh, big cut over the turn 19 curve.
Yeah, there's a Kyle just in, just in the iRacing dynamics coming into play through those last couple corners. A little bit of, if you need any further distractions, a little bit of sun in your eye as you're trying to make these moves, just to, add into the realism in the immersion here at COTA here tonight. But Lutfer does lose that 2nd spot, see if he can get it back, or if, as he said, work together and try to see if they can draft to catch Alessandrini.
Well, dives up the inside for turn 1, and I don't think there's a whole lot of working together at the moment, side by side, as they slide out of turn 1 behind him. Hausil and Lanning going at it for 4th.
Yeah, they are, and we talked about Hausil trying to gain some time back. He hasn't been able to recover from the poor starting spot in the race as obviously Alessandrini was, but in still a good position in 4th, and he is closing in on the battle for 2nd, so he still may be able to get himself a podium position here nonetheless.
4 minutes and 40 seconds remain here in race number 3. We're going to take you back through some other battles going on throughout the field when they appear. But right now, the closest one, I think, is our second place, Hartley and Lupfer. But Lupfer might have burned those rear tires off trying to get on throttle so early. So might have to take a lap or two just to cool those things off before he can make one final attack. But DJ Alessandrini out up front right now. No signs of slowing down. And he does not, I should mention that we have the best lap recording on a graphic here, and you need to run a clean lap for it to show up, and DJ's 5 laps in and still has yet to run a clean lap, staying on course the entire time.
Yeah, well, I can see, based on a not clean lap, he was 0.8 of a second faster last time by, 23 flat, 223 flat, essentially, to Hartley's 223.8, so just doing that, that's how that lead went from 0.8 of a second now almost to 2.5.
The first driver with a legal lap time is Gil Winningham back in 8th place. So to be fast, it seems like you need to be driving pretty hard. You're also interested in the average speed of that lap. It's showing as 83.7 miles an hour. Quite a bit slower than I would have expected for a track this big with such a long straight, but 224.452 is Winningham's best time.
Yeah, that is amazing. We've only had, I can see what you're I think we've only had 3 drivers in the race that have actually registered a clean lap.
Oh, man. Schlavine and Lucas for 21st. They're drag racing down the back straight towards turn 12. Looks like Schlavine has the spot for now. We'll see if Lucas tries to outbrake him, and he will not. So Schlavine gets the spot, and he'll dive into 12 and apex nicely.
And Schlavine has definitely had, he has definitely met the rear bumper of somebody in today's race, but still hanging on with that huge damage and trying to see if he can stay ahead of Lucas and Johnson for 21st position.
And Johnson had a slow start, kind of spun out in the early going here, and he's going to get on by for 22nd spot. Meanwhile, for third, Hausiel takes it away from Lupfer. This is in turn number 1, so move the 6 car up to third, and Alessandrini's lead is extended to 2.8 seconds, but I don't think Hausiel's quite done advancing spots yet. He's still got Hartley up the road that he can get.
Yeah, he has, potentially a lap and a half, Kyle, maybe 2 laps to get, that little bit of momentum built up to get to Hartley, and I think he's going to be able to get it, but Hartley's not going to roll over and play dead. We've seen how difficult it is to complete a pass and to hold it for before someone else crosses you back over, so I do predict a pretty good battle for that second spot shaping up pretty shortly.
Yeah, next time by will be the white flag lap, so we only have 1 more to go. 2 minutes left in this race as Hausiel last time by ran a 2:23.4, which was a full 0.2 quicker than DJ Alessandrini. It's not going to be good enough to catch him, but he could certainly catch Hartley at that pace.
We don't expect any mistakes from that one. He has made a couple bobbles here tonight, but a 3-second lead, definitely he just has to keep himself in tow. Just, doesn't have to push it, just kind of keep it on the track. Race should belong to him, but as we said, that battle for second shaping up, and that's definitely going to be on the market for that position.
Yeah, for DJ Alessandrini, last week, he had a bit of trouble in one of the races, and it dropped him kind of a far ways down the point standing. So winning all 3 races tonight, certainly going to be a huge advantage for him as we head into our 3rd round at Sebring in a couple weeks. So DJ is going to make up all that he lost at Road Atlanta. It's not often that he loses here on Sim TV, and I think he's willing to turn all that around. What happened last week around? Ooh, Austin Comp, big cut through turn 14. Would be surprised if he didn't get a cut course for that. There's a look. That was 4 tires underneath the inside of the curb. I don't know if he had to give it up, but it looks like he's still all over Lanning for 5th.
Yeah, so maybe the iRacing gun's kind of on his side there with the track stewards, but we'll see if he does have to slowly start backing off, but he may still be able to continue and luck out and see if he can get by that 18 and a little over a lap left remaining.
Also to check in on 14th place, Promo Robbie. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Started 20th up to 14th spot. Got 9 Lives Racing, which manufactures carbon fiber wings for race cars, and they're come on board to sponsor this number 98 car. He's got Kevin Burke, Kevin Glass, and Alfred Rodriguez in behind him right now. As white flag is in the air for DJ Alessandrini through turn number 1. It's a 3.5 second gap to Hartley, but here comes Hausiel up the outside. It's going to be a battle for second.
Yeah, we predicted this battle to come, and here it is through the S's. We'll see what Hausiel can do, if he can take advantage and close right to the back bumper, set himself up for a move on the back straightaway. I think that is exactly what he is going for, but Max Lupfer not too far back, so whatever move that the 6 does make, he's going to have to watch out for that 68 behind him as well.
Through the S's, gearing up for the hairpin for one final time. They're going to have no chance to catch the front runner Alessandrini, but they're going to run second and third. It's just a matter of what order they come in. You mentioned Lupfer. He's right behind. He sees the opportunity in front of him. Hausil dives up the inside through turn number 10 and down into 11. It's going to be a drag race. I think Hausil's got the preferred line here, but Hartley deep on the brakes.
Yeah, there's a strategy on the outside. What do you do? And it does look like he's going to be able to clear. And Hartley's going to lose potentially 2 spots in the making. He will salvage for third at the moment. See if he can regroup and get a little bit of a draft coming down the straightaway into the next corner. He has the run, and here he comes with a look to the inside.
The sun is setting on Circuit of the Americas and on this race. Down the back straightaway, Hartley to the inside of Hausil. It's their final time into turn number 12. Hartley's got the preferred line. He'll take the spot away, run a little wide on exit. Hausil throttles up. He's on the turf. Going to look to the inside for turns 13 and 14 on driver's right. Here they go.
Here he comes to the inside on the right side of the track. Is the 6 of Hausil. He's going to be able to clear, or is he? 03 is going to try. He's not going to have the run. And here comes Lupfer to the outside trying to make a run on Hartley.
Not going to be good enough to get second place away from Hausil after he took it down into 11. Up front, DJ Alessandrini, flawless race number 3. He started in 9th, drove through 8 other drivers to get to the lead. Behind him, it's a hornet's nest for second place, but it's going to be too little too late for anybody to catch this man right here. DJ Alessandrini, 3 for 3 here tonight. Circuit of the Americas, Grid Life iRacers, round 2. He sweeps the event and comes on through to win race number 3.
Amazing drive by the 1 to finish first, and the battle for second will finish with Hausil, Hartley, Lupfer, and Cobb, your top 5 here tonight.
Your 9th place battle coming to the checkers. Abbott and Carwile nose to tail as they enter turn number 20. I think it'll be Abbott that gets it. Behind them still, Drew Cleaver, Val DiPietro. Val's going to try to cross over on exit. Ooh, Cleaver, excellent defensive maneuvering there. He'll come on through and take 11th. DiPietro will have to settle for 12th. Promo Ravi, Alfred Rodriguez into the final corner as well. Rodriguez throws a Hail Mary. He's going to get to the inside. He'll take it away. What a great move there in the final corner.
Wow, I don't think he was expecting that, but, good bit of driving to not give up into the last corner, get every spot you can. So maybe just caught him a little bit sleeping there.
3 excellent races here tonight. Here's a look at your race results. DJ Alessandrini once again topping the board. This time only 1 lead change when DJ got the lead away on lap number 2 from Max Loop for Max. 2 fourths tonight. Going to be a great points night for him. Austin Cobb also a top 5 result for him as well. Hartley again, another solid finish, but excellent racing all around through all 3 races.
Yeah, definitely, Kyle. I mean, that last race, I think just because of the invert, and Alessandrini was able to, get through the pack easier and more efficiently than Hausil was. That seemed to be the difference. Then with Johnston having his issues early on, never being able to recover, just kind of, set it up for Alessandrini to take advantage of it, and that's exactly what he did.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. We've been gone for about a minute and a half. We're going to grab your top 3. Stay with us. Welcome back live to SimTV and the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup. We're here now with 13th place finisher Kevin Glass. Kevin, tonight 32nd starting spot in race 3. You finished 13th. Walk us through your night because you came throughout half the field to get to where you were. How much fun was that going through the field?
Oh, it was a good battle. The car is a little bit all over the place on this track, and considering I have never driven the track or the car before, it was pretty interesting going from the back to the.
This racetrack leaves you a lot of runoff to use. How useful was using the runoff to pass cars, or were you pretty content just keeping it on course?
To be honest, it wasn't really much benefit going off track. Like, I never found the extra speed advantage by running wide. If anything, I found that it kind of upset the car going off those rumble strips, and it would really kick the rear end out. And especially with this car, it just burns the tires off. So by just kind of keeping it a little bit tight and easy on the throttle on, the tires lasted the whole second.
All right, Kevin. Hey, congratulations. The top 15 result, a great climb through the field. It'll be a 13th place for you. Thanks for talking. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too. All right, we're we'll talk to Nick Johnston next because Nick had a spectacular race number 2. Race 3 didn't quite go your way, Nick, but race number 2, walk us through that epic battle of the checkers you had with DJ.
Yeah, that was a crazy race. I knew it was going to come down to the last few corners there. And honestly, I was just going to defend Ken at the end of the long straight. And I felt like I braked where I would normally brake, maybe a little bit deeper. So I'm not sure if DJ had a plan to maybe sit in second there for the last few corners and try to make it happen. But next thing I knew, I was beside him, and I knew with the track limits and everything that we were going to be side by side for quite a while. And I knew that I had been able to complete the pass into the final corner early on in the race. So as long as I can hold some position on the inside of him there, going into the final 2 corners, I knew I had a really good shot of it. But that was really clean, fun racing at the front there with those guys.
All right, Nick. Hey, nice job running tonight. We'll see you next time at Sebring on the 7th of January. Good luck to you. Hopefully things turn a little bit better for you in race number 3.
Yeah, we'll try again. See ya.
See ya. Move on now to Austin Cobb, who finished in 5th place in race number 3. Austin, some good running you had there with Andrew Lanning, some good fighting all night long throughout the field, but a 5th place for you in race number 3. Happy with that, or wish you could have gotten more?
Yeah, man, it was a good finish. Race 2, I'm not sure what happened. I started 28th, fought back to 11th, and then it was a good fun race. Was hoping to get into that top 3 slot, but it is what it is.
Through all 3 races, we saw pretty varying weather conditions. How much did the racetrack change from race to race, or not much at all?
Really, for me, it felt about the same. It was, even though it was nice and cool, it was just about managing the tires. I actually blew them up in race 2, trying to work through that track.
We look forward to Sebring coming up on January 7th. Do you think you got a good chance at winning there, either there or at Road America in the final race of the season?
Yeah, I'm a lot more familiar with Sebring, and Road America is my go-to track, so I hope to bring a hurtin' to DJ.
All right, Austin. Nice job running 5th tonight. We'll see you next time at Sebring.
All right, appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll move on now to, I think we're going to talk to DJ and Ken at the same time. We'll bring in both of them. Hey, Ken and DJ, both you guys are going to talk to you both at once. A solid race for Ken. Well, I guess we'll talk to you first, Ken. Started 8th, but DJ got by you. You ended up in 2nd. What'd you need to go get that number 1 car?
Mostly just not get a cut course on the first lap. That was just silly. After I got through the turn 1 mess, it was like, oh, got to make some time, and it didn't work. So that's pretty much it for the race 3.
Sebring coming up in a couple weeks for you, Ken. Do you think that's where you could get yourself another victory, or are you looking more forward to Road America in the final race of the season?
Honestly, Sebring has always been one of my favorite tracks, and I've always done pretty well there, so kind of looking forward to it.
Of course, DJ Alessandrini, you won a whole bunch of races tonight, back on right on where you should be after a shaky race at Road Atlanta last week. Your thoughts after 3 very successful races here at COTA?
I didn't expect to have that much pace, and every single time I come here to COTA, and I never expect to do well, and then I just end up running near the front. So I can't set fast laps, but apparently I race pretty well on it. So I guess I'll take that over the fast laps, obviously.
Talk to us a little bit. I actually want to hear from both of you about this. Running wide here at COTA, or any track for that matter, there was some discussion over whether or not it's really worth anything. Do you guys think it's worth a little bit of time to run wide, or is it probably more effort than it's actually worth?
So they actually added some course cuts for running wide. I don't know when they did that, but you can't just the second to last left-hand turn. You can't just sail out there anymore. You get a course cut.
Did not know that.
So I know that was affecting a lot of people tonight. But basically, besides that spot, there's not really anywhere where you just run like blatantly off like Mazda MX-5 Cup car style. And it will gain you a bunch of time. I'd say probably if your left tires are on the curbing, like it'll still give you an off track, but that's probably like optimal line. So not sending way outside, but just a little off of where iRacing wants you is probably fastest. Ken, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. I think the Mustang didn't really have too much to gain by running wide. I mean, there's a couple corners like I forget what the number is, but up over the crest out of the S's, you come out of there and you go out onto the AstroTurf. Otherwise, really not worth too much. And most of the time, you're on the AstroTurf and the Mustang and just spinning the tires, so you're not going anywhere. So
right, yeah, that turn specifically, like you could drop your right side tires in the grass, and that was probably faster than if you didn't do that. But besides that, like the rest of them are either enforced by iRacing or just not worth it.
All right, guys, we want to wish you congratulations for your firsts and your seconds tonight. Ken and DJ, congrats. We'll see you guys at Sebring on the 7th of January.
Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
So that's going to wrap up the interviews here tonight. Corey, 3 spectacular races here this evening. A minimum of carnage for how many cars were out there. Your thoughts on the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, you prefaced me into going into this what to expect, and it met every expectation I had. These guys are very clean drivers, very aggressive drivers, not afraid to put a bumper to them, but not going to go out there and blatantly wreck. They put on a really good show. We saw, especially in race number 2, a really good finish. And then, race number 3 here tonight, the one just showed what he had for muscle and took that win in dominating fashion. But definitely, I enjoyed the night, and thanks for having me on tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Corey. Of course, that's going to do it for us this evening. We got one more stream, I think, at least on this half of the week, and that will be tomorrow night, Washington, D.C. region SCCA season finale from Road Atlanta. That'll be tomorrow at 8:25 p.m. Got special guest Dominic Mandil joining us in the booth as well for that one.
We have a stream on Saturday too.
Oh, thanks. Hey, Finian, how you doing? I saw you lurking. I wasn't sure if you're gonna speak up or not. But yeah, so Saturday night, Outsider Racing League from Talladega, I believe. Is that right?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, join us there, 8:25 tomorrow and 10 p.m. on Saturday. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.